And this guy is a legend. Most successful StarCraft 2 Pro League last season individual player, had the most wins, and it just shows. Look at his overall Pro League statistics: 267 wins to 104 losses. This season, he's 1-1. Did lose his game to Sola, which was a really, really awesome game. Sora coming around the right side with that Storm flank, catching him off guard. Really, really great game to watch, though. And now he wants to tie up his Terran vs. Protoss record and take the 1-1 from defeating eMotion.
We're going to have to see if he does that. Of course, his opponent over here, like you mentioned, this is eMotion out of Samsung Galaxy Kong. Not a guy to be trifled with. He did win his first win. He did win his first game. And he's not one of these most famous players, but he's an up-and-comer. And so far, looking at his play, he's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's played quite a few online cups. And when you look at that, you can see, okay, he's got some experience. He's definitely a solid player. But offline results are what really matters. And I feel like Samsung, the coach Sangtaek, he made a relatively risky decision to put him out here in his first match, but he came through for the team and won. Now they're putting him out here first again, and he has to play against a really, really strong player, a legend in FlaSh. But this is how you can take a B-teamer and make him into an A-teamer. Just put him in the booth as much as possible, feed off of that energy, feed off of those wins, and just keep that momentum going. That's how a legend is born. That's how a strong player is born, and I think this guy's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, and imagine if this guy can actually take a game off of FlaSh. That's going to be so good for his career, even for his confidence in himself, the confidence of his coaches and his team. This is a lot on the line, actually, for him right now, just going up against FlaSh alone.
Yeah, definitely going to be a tough match ahead. FlaSh looking focused and motivated here. I feel like the sentiments of Terran being weak against Protoss in Korea has died down quite a bit with some of our recent results. So I think he's probably still thinking about that a little bit. It is very difficult for Terran to play the late game against Protoss. You have to have excellent micro. FlaSh always known for his control, but more so his macro management in the mid-game. Just always able to hit his depots perfectly, always having the exact amount of production he needs, never missing a cycle. And to be honest, eMotion not showing a whole lot of it right now.
I was looking at his face. He's just kind of staring at the monitor, trying to, I guess, get his mindset in the right place, because if he's not ready for this game against FlaSh, then he's going to have a rough time. I mean, FlaSh known to, just like you said, have that really incredible macro and come at you with so many units when you're just not expecting it usually. And
FlaSh has called the referee over. He did not actually accept the invite to lobby. He's not in the lobby currently, so he seems to have some sort of technical problem. FlaSh is a player who's actually known for having to have all of his settings perfect to the T, to taping his mouse pad so that it doesn't move even slightly when he's playing, because he moves his hands so quickly. He has to have his mouse sensitivity set to the exact moment or the exact setting that he wants it. He's got the desk level, perfectly set. His monitor raised to the right height. His chair in the right height. And in Korea, in these booths, a lot of you guys don't know this probably, but there's also an air conditioning unit in the booth. Go FlaSh from your Australian friends. A lot of Australian fans who list there. And thanks for coming down, man. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, it's always nice to see you guys come down to the studio. This guy listened to our advice, actually came here.
Yeah. See, you guys could be just like him. You could give shout-outs to your friends.
You could write whatever you want on that sheet.
You really could.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
96% of stuff is okay.
You could pretty much write anything, asterisk. FlaSh is now in the lobby. He's ready. He has confirmed in the chat that he is ready to go. I've got my monitor back. I'm very happy about this. I can look in there and see what he's saying. He's having some of his Pocari sweat, taking a swig. He's known for drinking that.
Yeah, chugging it right before every game that he plays, and he has some in his mouth right now. He's going to swallow it.
All right, he certainly will, and eMotion's going to have to swallow every ounce of nervousness he has right now before he goes into this game, because this is not going to be an easy match against such a legend of Brood War, a legend of last season of Pro League. Let's go into the game right now on Yeonsu.
LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Down here in the bottom left, the famous Terran player. In the red, representing KT Rolster, this is FlaSh.
His opponent to the top right, 1-0, getting that very important win that Samsung Galaxy Con needed to take that win. It's eMotion, who seems to be keeping his emotions in check quite well in both games so far. It looks like he's not stressed or nervous, not even in the slightest.
And that's the way you got to be. Even though his name is eMotion, you don't have to follow your name. He's up against FlaSh. He knows he's basically heads above him right now, especially in popularity and in experience. He has to know he's going against one of these titans, and I'm sure he's studied all of this guy's replays over and over and over again, played a bunch of PVTs on this map to prepare for this day.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to study for FlaSh out there. He's got a lot of odds, and he's played a lot of Heart of the Swarm, and this matchup has not really changed too much in Heart of the Swarm at all. Since the beginning, when players figured out exactly what they could do to defend aggression, from that moment on, we had Terran players trying to figure out different ways to be aggressive, and there emerged certain builds like the Hellbat drop, which was then nerfed, the Widowmine drop, which was figured out by Process, and now you see almost every Terran player doing one Reaper into expand, Reaper, Reactor, expand, Reaper goes down, Reactor goes down, Command Center goes down, and the rest is history. You start with that, you find out what the Process is doing, you respond to that, and you play a macro game. The only thing that's really changed in this matchup, I feel, is the way that Terran players play the mid game. Sometimes you do still see that lazy boy push where the Terran will pull all the SCVs and go for an all-in before 3-3 is done, before Storm is done, whichever research he's banking on hitting before. But nowadays, the biggest change we've seen is that Terran players are actually trying to play late game. They're trying to fight that Protoss death ball. They're trying to attack in the mid game and try to stop their next side from going out, forcing cancels, doing little things like this.
Yeah, and actually a player who's famous for doing this, Creator, going to that 3-3, getting those storms at a seemingly impossible time. Keem played an amazing late game TVP against him. Make sure you go check out that VOD. Tons of those tricks like you were talking about used in that game by Keem. Keem looking really good so far. We're going to have to see how FlaSh does against this Protoss, losing his first game in Pro League against Sora, which we mentioned before. He is going for the Reactor Reapers right now.
Yeah, he actually goes double Reaper here. That's 100 gas committed. And with double Reaper, you can do so much with this. He's going to delay this this Nexus for a really long time, because with 2 Reapers, you can actually annoy that Stalker and absorb some of that DPS and kind of protect the engineering bay for a while. This is really annoying right now for eMotion, who just gets the glimpse of it now that there's an eBay block going down. It, of course, goes into Marine production right afterwards. Not going to go both Reapers to the eBay, and the timing of it doesn't quite line up to where he could really defend it all too well. It's already taken a lot of damage from the Mothership Core, since the Mothership Core came out pretty early from eMotion. He just wants to identify if there are any pylons around the map to hide a Dark Shrine or hide a Twilight Council, even more commonly a Stargate.
Yeah, and this is what FlaSh wants to do. He just wants to get to that mid-game race so good mechanically. This probe getting by, he sees Engineering Bay going down, so he's going to know what FlaSh is up to, at least for now.
No, he knows it's going to be a fast +1 attack.
Yeah.
That eBay gets canceled at the last second. Very nice timing there with the probe, having it come down right as the eBay was killed. 2 additional barracks being added for FlaSh, as you would expect. There's that +1. But it's Blink on the menu for eMotion. Will FlaSh identify this with his Reaper? He's got a good shot of it. I think he's actually going to see this. Oh, he needs to go check.
He needs to go check around the back, and it looks like he will. He's going to see the Chrono Boost on that Twilight Council. He's going to know exactly what's coming out.
Yep, doesn't get much more obvious than this. Oh my god, the Reaper not going to see one more shot with it. But a great scout here. This is why this build is so safe for Terrans. There's so much versatility in this, the Reaper expand. The double Reaper even especially much better for this.
Yeah, and that's FlaSh's style. He just wants to be safe going into the game. He wants to know exactly what the Protoss is up to so that he can go into what he's best at and just macroing out a bunch of those units and responding to whatever the Protoss is going to throw at him.
We have a robotics going down for eMotion, which is really interesting. I wonder what this is going to be for. He's got a few options. One is to just use the Observer for ensured high ground vision because the Mothership Core is not invisible. It doesn't have a lot of hit points, not a lot of sustain, so it can be targeted down quite easily, and then you don't have any more high ground vision to blink into the main base to have that additional threat. It also could be that he wants to add an Immortal or two, make this push a little bit stronger, to kind of bolster that ground army, and then use the Stalkers supporting, while he's blinking back defensively while he's attacking with his Immortal, microing his Immortal, microing his Stalkers the best of his ability. And the third, even less likely possibility is that he's just going to try to transition here while putting a little bit of pressure on with Blink. That wouldn't be a bad choice, but it's definitely not an easy transition to make.
And look at this Reaper getting into the main base with just one more shot left on it. He sees the Robo, he sees the extra gateways, he sees the Chrono Boost still on that. That did finish over there.
Yep. And FlaSh is prepared. He had 2 bunkers in this main base.
And 2 at the, well, he had 2 in the front. I guess he salvaged one of those, but he does have it in a little bit of a better position here. He did salvage that one.
The timing here doesn't work out anymore for eMotion because he made that Robo. And we're going to see that third weird option that I talked about, which is the transition. And this means that the resources he put into those Blink Stalkers it's not resources well spent anymore, to be frank. It's not something that he's going to really be able to get a return on investment for. He can't blink into the main base with this much army against him here. He's not going to be able to blink aggressively at the front either. The only thing that he can use this for is shutting down drops, which are already delayed, so having this tech out earlier isn't a plus for him anymore.
Yeah, he basically rushed out this tech that he did not need at this point in the game. At least, if he had it a bit earlier, it might have been good if he went for an aggressive attack, but he did not do that. And now he just has it. I mean, that will be good going on later, but he could have used that extra gas and minerals earlier on for something a little better, maybe taking the third, which he is doing now. He is about to get that third Nexus up.
This is a good choice, the third Nexus with the Robotic Support Bay. It's a plan that is solid. It's rooted in safety because he has those Blink Stalkers that can help shut down drops, for example. Notice he's able to use that Blink for just these tiny things like getting away like that and picking off a Marine. FlaSh wants to flank and catch here. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, eMotion on the ball. Keeping his emotions in check. We're going to say that at least 5 more times this game. Making sure his Stalkers do not get flanked here. And I'm not sure if FlaSh knows about this third base just yet. He has to be careful going up this ramp. There are a lot of sentries there.
It's not unreasonable to expect there's a third Nexus there, but like I said, it was the most unlikely of the options, and he knows a transition is underway, but he might be thinking, is he really bold enough to take a Nexus right now against this big army up on the map? Even if FlaSh did know about it with these sentries here, defending this would have been definitely a possibility and not a tough thing for eMotion to do. So it's not to say that him taking this base is unreasonable. It's definitely something that FlaSh could try to capitalize on if he knew about it. It seems FlaSh is just assuming it's not there, which is going to hurt him in the long run.
Yeah, it definitely will unless he does something here. It looks like he wants to be a little bit aggressive once this +1/+1 is finished totally. He's sending the 1 Marine up. He sees the Colossi. Deciding to move back for now, maybe reposition.
His army's still pretty Marine heavy, and with the Colossus there, he feels a little bit hesitant. I'm still a little bit disappointed he didn't verify on that third Nexus. Could have done a lot more there. Now he's going to, it looks like, with his Marine, try to sneak around and get some information. Nope. Denied.
Stalker coming in, the Marine running away as fast as possible.
Well, FlaSh's position in this game is still solid because he has the much better army, a much larger army they can continue to bully with. He has upgrades coming out there ahead for at least the time being. My concern is, okay, now he's identified this. How much can he get done here?
Well, he does have the range from here, but the Colossi are going to come over here and be able to shut this down for now.
Yep, the Photon Overcharge as well, having approaching infinity range, and able to shoot those down when he needs to get nearby. This little run by is kind of cute. He gets a little bit more scouting information. What FlaSh may consider doing right now, because he has no third command center, and he has a very solid army. That's something he knows, and he knows his opponent's army is weak while he's trying to attack. He can identify this. That's why he keeps saying these Marines over here. He's like, okay, so how many Colossi do you have? Okay, you only have 2. You're probably making that transition to the Charge Zealots right now. You know, are you trying to get Storm? He also gets to click and identify the upgrades. What he's probably going to do here is an SCV pull with some of his ghosts because he doesn't have that command center. And he's going to do that build that I was talking about, that Lazy Boy push. Picking away at some of these units right here and actually getting some decent trades. He's got to be careful, though, about sticking around too long.
Yeah, he is getting some decent trades, like you said. The supply steadily going up for him while eMotion is stacking up to a bunch of those upgrades and getting the Templar Archives up at the same time. Like you said, still no command center out of FlaSh. We will probably see some aggression soon enough. Maybe when that +1 finishes, or +2, as well as a bunch more Vikings come out.
Yeah. And there's the SV push. Notice that the second the Templar Archive finished, he researched Storm. He knows that that's what he needs. He knows that FlaSh doesn't have a third base. He's verified this multiple times with his hallucinated Phoenixes. He's got the Observer in here to spot. He sees us coming, and he wants to, if he can, keep these Templar not in Archon form. He has the ability to do so many storms when that research is done. Warps an additional Templar. He Spore Sealing perfectly here. Time War goes down as well. Goodbye, Mothership Core. But any second he can buy is 1 second closer to that storm finishing. FlaSh now realizing, okay, I've got to go for this Nexus. This is what I can try to do for now. And eMotion, quite frankly, has to let it go. Oh, EMP, it's all the sentries. I can't believe he's going to try to fight here. Storm is not ready.
Storm is not ready. A bunch of really good EMPs going down. So many Vikings as well, taking down both Colossi now. And the huge army with the extras SCVs added is just going to roll over eMotion right now. There's nothing left for him.
This was a poor judgment call. This is a poor judgment call. GG. eMotion made the choice to fight there. He thought he had enough to get Storm out there. Maybe he thought Storm was a little bit further along the way. And he thought, okay, just a few more seconds. I'm just going to let these Zealots tank and I'll drop the Storms. But he didn't have it.
Yep.
I think FlaSh is looking at it. I can't believe you thought you could hold that third base. You should have just let that go and try to get your Storm out.
Yeah, I mean, with the EMPs even, before the Storm wasn't done yet, it was about to finish, but the EMPs went on to the sentries and a bunch of those High Templar as well. And the army just rolled over. At the end of that fight, FlaSh still had the bulk of what he came in with.
Yeah.
And those two Colossi not doing much. I'm surprised he didn't just throw down some force fields at the ramp and just continue to hold it off and wait a little bit more, because he knew it was all in. He could have delayed for at least a little bit more.
Right. If he sacrifices the Nexus, it's still a 2-base versus 2-base.
Yeah. And
if he holds the push, there's no SCVs really left for FlaSh. He has the better upgrades. He has the better tech. When he has Storm Tech and Colossi, even in bases with a better economy, he's in a great spot. Sacrificing the Nexus would not have cost him the game. It would have allowed him to maybe hold the push. But